Hello everybody and welcome back to another round of the BISC GT3 Championship in Season 1. Time for Mount Panorama in the next round of our season. Round 6 out of 8. Over the course of the next 3 weeks, we will decide a champion. Really any closer to knowing who's going to come out on top this season. It's been such a close season. Been a couple of drivers, but we will find that out in the next 3 weeks. Myself, Ewan Leary, Austin Scheff with me for another round of the championship. Time, Austin, we're on to Mount Panorama. A little bit dark conditions, actually, as was predicted and indeed scheduled in the weather forecast. It's dawn at the moment, so slightly dark out there, but that's not the real problem here tonight. It is the circuit itself. So many of these drivers will be just racing the circuit itself rather than each other. Mount Panorama is a very, very difficult circuit to even just get round on your own.
You gotta be careful. Bottom out.
Yeah, well, it's qualifying at the moment. As you say, we've had 2 races as well. No reverse grid this week, but it's the last week without a reverse grid. Fuji and Mugello next week will have one. Before we get the times coming in, and Lee Harrison is first out there to start a lap time in his Ferrari. Still quite a way away from seeing the first lap times come in. I'll just tell you about the championship standings, which have Eric Aria at the top at the moment. 13 points ahead of Guillaume Dombray. Ivan Vanchigiato is now 37 points back, but he's got nearly double the points of the driver in 4th place. There is a real gap from the top 3 down to the rest. Jordan Pianzola, Peter Pereiro, David Wang, all in the top 6. Those are the prize-giving positions in this championship at the end of the year. So that's how it looks at the moment, although Dante Oliver is only 7 points behind that top 6. Lee Harrison only 17 behind, tied with Matt Warner. Ben Snell rounds out the top 10. He is 23 behind David Wang at the moment anyway. So those are the battles for the top 6 position, but great in this series to have a bit of prize money for all of the top 6. Pretty decent prize money it is as well. And they're going to be fighting over it pretty hard, but it's very noticeable in the standings how the top 3 have really raced away from the rest of the field. Absolutely, it's important in qualifying to begin your day with a good qualifying position. Lee Harrison will kick off the lap times here with a lap time first of all. Is it going to count, and where's it going to put him at the end of that? Harrison goes up to the top with his 2:02.0. Vanchigiato just behind him. But Dombray over the line goes up to the pole to 2:01.7. So that's expected, I suppose, but Dombray up to the top. Where is Eric Aria? He's just coming over the line right now to end the first lap time of his session in that Porsche. And Eric Aria only goes into 6th place, so a bit of early pressure for the championship leader. Needs to improve massively on where he's gone in that first lap time of the day. So far, 13 drivers have times, 14, as I say that. Ben Mitchell goes over the line. Matthew Brown, Kyle Newhill and Paul Pitton didn't get a time in at the time. They must have grazed the wall or something. Even just grazing the wall around this circuit, even if it's a 0x for contact, will get you a invalid lap time. Don't worry too much about the sparks that you might see as they appear to be grazing the wall. May just be a little bit of latency because we're all in different parts of the world here at the moment. So that's just creating things a little bit. Scott Borman is out on an outlap at the moment. Peter Ferreira hasn't started an outlap yet, hasn't left the pit lane yet in this qualifying session. Wonder whether he's purposely starting at the back. And William Hawke as well has just only now appeared in the session actually. So he'll be maybe starting from the back as well, but maybe he'll get a time in, who knows. So the second round of times will come in now then. Lee Harrison goes over the line, and that doesn't look like it counted. Idipa Vantagiato, he moves up to second place. As Dombre also extends a bit of an advantage, 2:01.4. Thought you got an off track there on that time, did Dombre, but he certainly didn't. He's 4 tenths in front of Vantagiato now. Not too many other improvements. Where is Eric Aria going to end up? He goes over the line right now, and this is going to need to be an improvement to put himself up to the front. Can't see it being an improvement. Newhill moves up to 7th place, but Eric Aria still stuck in 9th place. That last lap time was invalid, and Aria's all the way down in 10th place now. A little bit of a concern for him now. Also moving up, Ben Mitchell, there goes into 10th place. Scott Bowman's about to start his first lap time of the day. We're just less than 4 minutes in though, less than 4 minutes to go in this session, so there really isn't very much time to go for Guillaume Dombre to hold on. Vantagiato and then Matt Warner, you can see here, who's in 3rd place. Aria now outside of the top 10, but can Dombre continue to take this pole position here in the final moments of qualifying at Bathurst? That's what he's aiming for. That's what he needs to do as well. 13 points behind Eric Aria coming into today's race. Gained a few points from Daytona after some penalties, I think, were applied for Eric Aria. So gap 13 points, but he needs to close that down over the next few races.
Main goal, I'd be worried. As many.
Not the great way to start. Lee Harrison moves up to the top. 2:01.3 for him. The first driver out there, and first driver setting times at the moment. Moves up to the top ahead of Dombre and Vantagiato and all the rest as well. Carl Newhill moves up to 8th place. David Wang and Eric Aria move up. So that is an improvement from Eric Aria of about a second. However, it's still only got him into 9th place with just over 2 minutes left in this qualifying session. Well, that is putting Aria right in the danger point here. He's right in the midfield here so far in this qualifying session. One of those circuits where you can benefit from a draft, but also there's this bit over the top of the mountain which disrupts that slightly. Angeli and Scott Evans, I think, running side by side. They're not likely to take pole. It's going to be between Lee Harrison, Guillaume Dombre, Vantagiato also at the front of the field. They are further round, of course, and towards the end of this lap. We'll try and get a glimpse of them before they come to the line. 1 minute to go. Scott Evans goes over the grass. That'll be an off track, and surely that'll be the end of his run for the pole here. But Harrison's going to come over the line here, and we'll see where he gets to. A 2:01.3, the current best time. Can he improve to put this one any further out of sight? Can Vantagiato improve? Yes, he can. Vantagiato improves, and he goes on to a 2:01.2. That is pole for the moment. Guillaume Dombre also over the line, can't improve. A 2:01.6 from him. So he is going to end the session third for the moment. What about Eric Aria? He's coming through the final corner right now. And so he actually pushed down to 10th place just as he comes up towards the line. What is the lap time going to be for Eric Aria? New also gets ahead of him. Aria up to 8th place, but that is quite a long way down in this session.
Yeah, for sure. But Eric Aria, we can only hope that there's people that are in front of him that make mistakes, which allows him to just get past them and get more positions. But typically what we see in these first races, there's not too many incidents that have been caused, and it's typically on that last race.
Well, let's see what happens here on the start of this race. It's going to be really nervy for Eric Aria starting in the midfield like that. Not the place you want to be at Bathurst at all, and so yeah, he'll be concerned. It's only going to be a 5-lap first race, of course. The 10 minutes is all we've got for this first race of the day. Bathurst, Lee Harrison will line up on the front row, and Dombre, didn't take pole there, but he is third, so would be a decent points gain if he can stay there. Obviously, it's a big deal to try and stay there, even from here. However, yeah, that's a big gap between the two drivers, and Dombre's got to take this opportunity. Starting 5 positions ahead of his main championship rival, he's got to take points in this race, surely. He's not going to, or rarely going to get any better opportunities than this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he takes takes on this start. As I say, got to be got to be a race where he gains points here, Dombre, as just waiting for Ferrero to grid up here. If he is going to grid up, he is in the session, but he's not in the Discord anymore, and he's not gridding up at the moment either. So looks like that's going to be the end of that. Banciato takes pole though, and we saw at Daytona last week that he's very strong driver, finished first and third. Had issues in that second race where he went for a spin, but he showed in race 1 that he's got very, very good speed, and he will hope that he can keep that leading position here for the entirety of this first race of the day. The pace truck will now pull away, and here we go. So, pace truck pulls away, and Banciato got a chance here to repeat his sprint race victory that he got 1 week ago.
The streak continues, but a lot of us are probably wondering right now.
Brings them into the final chicane now. I think he will go on and extend his winning streak of sprint races, to be honest, but we'll wait and see. Too early to say. They now come into the final corner. He's not waiting, and we saw this at Daytona. Even before the trioval he was going and catching a few people off guard. Maybe they've become wise to it now here at Bathurst. Way before the final turn he goes. He's allowed to do that, and stretches his speed out early on. It's going to alleviate some problems through turn 1, thankfully.
Oh!
They watch them all. I want to say that too soon. A spin in the background. Goodness me. Ian Sola goes off along with Dante Oliver, who was the Porsche who spun around in the background. Meantime, Lee Harrison and Ivan Vanciato go side by side into turn 2. Dombre just behind, looking to make up the places. Who's going to take the lead there? Who is going to take the lead? Vanciato was on the inside of Lee Harrison, and he does hold on to the lead.
That Ferrari is on his butt. Levante Thiago does not get worried about that Ferrari when he gets close to him. That is probably the biggest thing that he has to do right now, is not mess up.
Down the hill, no mistakes on the way down the mountain, and it's very close between the front 5. They're all in one line. Dombre is there as well, third place. Matt Warner and Johnny Crozer. And a plonk on the wall from Lee Harrison. I said earlier, don't worry about the grazes on the wall, but that was a proper bit of contact with the barrier there. And on to the back straight they go. Down the hill towards the chase. And it's Anstiato ahead of Lee Harrison. Down on the brakes for the chase. Anstiato keeps the lead, but he's being put under pressure here from that Ferrari, which does have better straight line speed than the Porsche. So that's where Anstiato is going to be vulnerable to attack at the final part of the lap.
You see the Ferrari really get real close to the bumper of the Porsche. Just went through Hell's Corner.
Well, there's going to be an opportunity here for the Ferrari to come past. He looks onto the left-hand side, outside into turn 2, and close, side-to-side contact, and he goes wide. Here comes Dombre, trying to get up to second place at the expense of Lee Harrison, into the cutting, and they pop back into screen. Single file again. Harrison holds on to second, but that's the risk when you go around the outside of turn 2. You're always running the risk of going wide on that off-camber turn, and that's what happens. Dombre very nearly getting through as a result there.
Definitely was a sketchy move, but he didn't lose any positions or he didn't gain any positions, so you could kind of say that it was a win not losing those positions. But it did definitely slow him down, and now he's got to catch up to Vantagiato again.
The final corner, and the final corner before that Conrad straight. Final corner of the mountain section. Harrison looking very, very quick, being able to get rid of Dombre and catch up to Vantagiato in one go there, and he's going for it into the chase. Down the bottom of your screen, here he goes, inside line for the second part. And he is through. He is through on the inside line. Vantagiato there with the check line speed of the Porsche, not enough to hold on to the lead ahead of that Ferrari. Dombre also joins in, but that's the first change for the lead proper now. Lee Harrison gets in front.
Lee Harrison just hits the fastest lap. Slipstream definitely helped with that.
Of course, soon to be taken away by Matt Warner, who's also getting a big slipstream at the moment from those first 3 in front of him. Does help, but not a drafting track in GT3s per se. Although it certainly helps make those passes, as we've just seen, down in towards the chase. Dombre still third. Aria is up to 7th, though. 1 place gain for him so far. David Wang still behind him. Gap between 3rd and 7th in terms of sprint race points is from 9 points to 4, only a 5-point gain at the moment for Dombre with this current position. So that's where we currently stand. With the points, another 5 points gained. But what did I say? 4 points. Anyway, Warner a little bit wide there through McPhillamy Park. Right, just about holds on to 4th place. Not a place you want to go wide there.
Lee Harrison just, when he gets the opportunity, he pulls away. That's definitely a big factor for him in that Ferrari, that straight line speed.
Warner has gone. He's been overtaken by Crozer, and he's got Scott Evans right behind him, and Eric Aria as well. So they're side by side actually for 5th position rather at the moment, while these guys are in single file. Warner gets back in front of Scott Evans for 5th place, and Evans gets back in front. Oh, and Warner's off. Warner is off. Eric Aria gets through. He's gone wide at the chase, and you see it in the background there. Warner goes wide, and now he's got Wang right behind him as well, but importantly, that is Eric Aria up another position here. And now he's only losing 3 points to Dombre in this first race of the day.
Lee Harrison just set the fastest lap the second time.
Got a pit stop for Newhill, by the way. Pianzolo in since the start. Of course, we saw his incident on lap 1, but Newhill in the pit lane is a bit of a one. Hasn't come to a stop yet. He'll just be dropping down the field anyway. Down there. This is Scott Evans just in front of Eric Arya, then Matt Warner. And this has been a good race so far from Eric Arya. Up 2 positions. He's limiting the damage that can be inflicted upon him by Guillaume Dombre, who's on the podium right now.
He's looking to make his way up through the field, and obviously, probably his biggest concern right now is how many points he's gaining, as he is a championship contender already, down 13 points after Daytona. He's looking to make every single one of those lost points and then more up here at Mount Panorama.
Then he finished off the podium 2 times in the first 10 races of this championship. Arya might well have that happen to him a 3rd time now in 11 as he runs here. That was a good forest elbow for Matt Warner, who's very close to Arya here. These guys are a lot closer, by the way, in the battle for the lead, which you're not missing anything here. This is where the battling is for 5th place. Evans, Arya and Warner down Conrad Straight, under the bridge now, and on the way towards the chase. There's going to be a look here, is there, from Warner down the inside of Arya? There is. It's pretty late, but he dives down the inside. He went off through the chase last lap, don't forget, but he pulls it off this time. Matt Warner makes up a place and takes a point away from Eric Arya, having his worst result of the season so far, by the way. Warner goes through on the inside, and that was a pretty decisive pass. What about David Wang? He's pretty close there to the Porsche. Is he going to have a look down the inside? Not quite. They see the white flag. 1 more lap to go here.
It's going to be interesting for sure. These guys have their little pack of 3. Eric Arya going to the outside.
A risky place to be, because Wang's going to just get down, hit inside. Arya with a big risk here, trying to take that place from Warner, and he's gone wide and he loses another. All of his work so far tonight has been undone there. He tried to go around the outside of Matt Warner. He just needed a little bit of calm there. He needed to protect the inside. And Wang gets through, so Arya down to 8th place. Wang and Warner, meanwhile, battle again side by side up the mountain. They went through Reed Park side by side there. And then, and Arya's trying to get involved. Warner just about survives. Arya now looks up the inside into McPhillamy there on David Wang. He can't quite get past, though. Side by side on the mountain for the first time, really, here tonight.
Eric Arya not having a strong night here. Just got to get up his speed again. All it's going to take for him.
He's on the last lap, so he's got to make the move on Wang this lap or never. Meanwhile, up front, Lee Harrison is leading this race by just less than half a second over Ivan Bastiato. They're about to take the checkered flag out front, and here's the battle. Harrison with a bit of a gap over the Porsche of Bastiato, so he holds the place, and into the final turn, Lee Harrison is going to take victory here at Bathurst. Final corner, and the Australian wins on the mountain. Lee Harrison takes victory in race 1 from Bathurst in the BISC GT3 Championship. It's Bastiato second, ahead of Guillaume Dombre in 3rd. Dombre gains 5 points in the championship, and now he's only 8 behind Eric Arya, the championship leader.
That was some spectacular racing up front and in parts of the pack. So that was spectacular by those fellows.
Well, the second race, of course, is going to be more than 2 times as long, and it's going to be just as fun as well. Broadbent and Newhill make their way over the start-finish line to end that first race of the day. Very shortly, we'll go into that 25-minute second race. We'll pull into the second race in just a moment. But there are the results. So as the session goes forward, we've got a warm-up session for 4 minutes, of course. Lee Harrison holds off Bastiato to the line, head of Dombre, who joins him on the podium.
Beginning of the race.
Gianni Kreuzer and Scott Evans then rounded out the top 5. Matt Warner getting ahead of David Wang and Eric Aria there, you saw at the end. Paul Pitton not too far away from them. Matthew Brown rounded out the top 10, with Anthony Eduardo's just outside. Scott Borman next ahead of Dante Oliver, who went for that spin at turn 1. Michael Ansley ahead of William Hawke. Ben Mitchell, Luke Broadbent, Kyle Newhill, the ones to finish the race. Peter Ferrero did not start, of course. And Jordan Pianzola tired after the opening lap of that one. So just 4 minutes or so in the warm-up session, and then we'll be back underway for race 2. But yeah, it's certainly a great start to the evening there with the racing we just saw.
Warm-up. Definitely going to probably give these guys just a bit of opportunity to get a bigger feel for how the track is as time is advancing. Ooh.
What did you just see there? Anyway, these two running nose to tail, Broadbent and Newhill. Pretty sure this is how they were in race 1, actually. They're just in warm-up. Surprising, really, for two drivers to have just done that 10-minute race to want to go out there again and go through warm-up. But, well, maybe that's why. A little bit of a bump on the wall for both of them there in warm-up. Bit clumsy for the two of them.
That's something I would definitely try to avoid in the second race is the wall. That wall can and will hurt your car depending on the impact. The impact looked very minor and looks like their car is just fine after that. That's the big thing once race 2 starts and it's a lot longer. Everything goes all haywire. Guys get all antsy.
Coming to a stop there is Broadbent. Scott Evans has also made his way out onto the circuit, but he won't even complete a full lap, I don't think, before the session ends. Eric Aria gets himself onto the pit road as well, but I'm not sure he'll do any driving. He's really got to regather himself, hasn't he, for this second race. He's just seen 5 points of his 13-point championship lead go away from him. Got to try and win that back somehow, and he's got to try in this next race to gain some of those points back. Yeah, so Guillaume Dombre is in danger here of actually taking his championship lead away in this next race. If they finished in the positions that they were last time, by the way, Dombre would have gained 13 points, so he would take the championship lead. This is what was looking last week like Arias to lose, with Daytona's results not really changing too much. It's now looking like Dombre is going to take the championship lead tonight.
This battle is going to come down to the wire, and I'm excited to see it. Great group of guys that race here every Monday morning. Rarely.
But this morning for us. A few drivers, and for the few drivers in this series, it is morning as well. David Wang is over in your part of the world. Very early morning racing on a Monday. Few Europeans as well, Van Stiato and Warner and Ante Oliver as well, but mostly from the Oceanic region, where this time slot, of course, is a lot more normal to be racing. It's just gone 9 o'clock in most of Australia, AEST time. So there you go. Say most of Australia. That's the most common time zone anyway. 9 hours ahead of us in the UK here, just after 9 o'clock in the evening. Well, the drivers are getting themselves onto the grid again and ready for race number 2. And because everybody's all ready after race 1, they're getting onto the grid pretty quickly as well. 25 minutes of this second race. It should have a pit stop within it, and it should therefore be 12 laps for these guys. 12 very, very important laps as well as we head into this final part of the championship. It's the last feature race where we don't have a full reverse grid, because next week we'll start 2 weeks back-to-back of a reverse grid.
One down. Should start moving. Seconds. Second.
Michelangelo didn't get onto the start grid by the looks of things. But Peter Ferrero isn't here today, but you can see that little gap on the grid there, where Angeli should be. Fortunately, hasn't taken on the start of this race, which is a shame. Doesn't look like he's going to rejoin either. So 18 drivers ready to go on the mountain. And as we saw, turn one is a real ordeal here at Bathurst. You've got to get it right. We saw a couple of spinners, Pianzola and Dante Oliver, both go for spins in race one.
See how early he goes this time.
Oh yeah, Vanchiato not in control of the field, of course, but Lee Harrison is, and he's going to wait a little bit longer than Vanchiato tends to. To the final corner, still hasn't gone. Is he just going to go out of the final turn? Yes, he is, pretty much. Very predictable, and the field will stack on top of each other as a result. Look at the weave on the straight there from Kreiser, who gets in front of Dombre. Dombre looks down the inside, but can he get through there? No, he can't. He's had the door shut on him. Through turn one. It's a much cleaner start this time as the entire field heads down Mountain Straight. All the way down this opening lap. A bit of a bobble over the curbs there for Aria, who got past David Wang, and now he's on the defensive, is Aria. Into the cutting. Wang on the outside there. And he's just about going to have to back out because, well, it's the outside of the cutting after all. You're never going to make it round there. Eric Aria, though, moves up to 7th place. That was a very, very good move from him. And behind, Bittam and Brown, 9th and 10th in the field. They run nose to tail as well. They're just outside Scott Pullman. Oh, that's a proper hit on the wall for Brown. They make their way over the top of the mountain for the first time of asking in race two.
Back down the mountain, this is where you gotta be extra careful.
That wasn't a good run for Dombre, really. Not Dombre, sorry. Eric Aria. Yeah, nearly second gap opening up in front of him. And look at this, Pitnam and Brown, meantime, nose to tail as well in the two Porsches. Straight line speed problems that this car has. It's not going to be a problem when there's two of them. Come down the front straight, or the back straight rather, and there goes Wang. Wang on the outside into the chase. He's not going to get past there though. Eric Aria defends that position well, and he keeps 7th for the moment. But this is a proper battle into the final turn. Aria will keep that position ahead of David Wang. Will put him Matthew Brown next in line. Well, this is high pressure now for Eric Aria for sure in this race.
Guys have actually kept it decently clean so far. The thing I was most worried about was turn one.
Nose to tail all through the top 6 here. Aria again able to keep Wang at bay in his first or second lap rather. Lee Harrison though continues to lead ahead of Ewan Vanchiato. And then Guillaume Dombre just in behind Cristiano Kreuzer. So it is nose to tail run over the top of the mountain. Dombre, the one who's looking the closest to making an overtake for that third position.
Vanchiato gonna try everything here. I had to take a guess he's gonna be relying on the pit stops now.
Might be. I think Dombre is not going to wait for the pit stops. He's definitely just going to get on with this and try and make the overtake on the circuit. But Bastiato and Kreuzer are too far behind for making moves at the moment, and of course the Porsche with its straight line speed, as we know. And the brakes, Warner's pretty close to Dombre as well. Sorry, that was a bit of a connection fault for Kreuzer. He's not actually got problems. But, he briefly dipped out the session. There is the group for Eric Aria. 7th place on backwards. Look at this. One line. Wang and then hit him over the line. It's all very close, but not too much side by side just yet. Through the cooing for Dombre. In behind that Ferrari of Cristiano Kreuzer. Over the top of the mountain. Close to the wall on the outside. And race around the top of this great racetrack, McPhillamy Park, through here. Wang very close to Aria there as well. And looking down the inside into the fast left-hander there. And then Paul Pittam, who's watching from 9th. Next is Matthew Brown as well, rounding out the top 10. Now steeply downhill on the brakes into Forest Elbow, and Wang got a better line through there. Is he close enough, though, to Eric Aria to make the move? About as close as Dombre is to Kreuzer, and I don't think either of them are close enough to make an overtake really here. Wang is going to get the slipstream of the Porsche, and that Mercedes is going to be stronger in a straight line, but is it going to be able to get ahead here? No, he's not close enough. Dombre wasn't close enough, and neither is Wang by the looks of it, unless there's a dive on the brakes, and there is not. So Dombre keeps that place for now. Oh, not for long though. Dombre on the defensive into the final turn as Wang got alongside. It must have been a bad run for Dombre. For Eric Aria, who's got David Wang round the outside and through. So Aria back to where he started now in 8th, and he's lucky that Pittam and Brown are battling amongst themselves, and they don't follow David Wang through.
It's 4 Porsches up in a line. I can't believe how this is going to work. Oh, and I'm curious to find out how it's going to work for all these 4 of these Porsches in the straight line here.
They're all the same manufacturer. It should offset things a little bit. The real worry, I think, is going to be Dante Oliver behind, because in qualifying, Oliver was quicker than all of the 3 Porsches in front and David Wang. He spun in race 1, of course, and because it's not a reverse grid this week, he doesn't get the chance to go to the front and maybe win a race 2, but instead he has to work his way through for race 1 and 2. And that's going to be the concern. If he's actually quicker than Eric Aria, there's not going to be much that Aria can do to keep him behind here.
I mean, regardless, it's been a rough day/night for Eric Aria in general. But he's just trying to strive on for position and points at this point. He's in the top 10 for cut line, so that is good for him. It just won't be as many points as he would be getting.
Look at this, he's under pressure again. Paul Pittam is right in behind him here. They now come down the straight, the chase, outside line, looks, but no way through. Aria stays ahead on the way down on the brakes there, ahead of Pittam. Matthew Brown just in front of Dante Oliver. They're not too far apart either. As we complete lap number 4, still no pit stops. Maybe that's an idea for Aria to get out of this traffic, come into the pit lane. So far, only Michael Angeli has been into pit lane, but that's because he started from pit lane and seemed to have some problems that meant he couldn't start with the rest of them. He's a lap down, but be interesting to see if these guys employ any strategy here to get ahead of the other. A circuit that is not difficult to overtake, but you know, certainly not easy either.
Yeah, for sure. You can see that they're trying to do their best to overtake one another, but with sometimes with how tight these corners are, and it just won't work for these guys. So they're trying their best to do what they can, pass one another, but it has not been working out so far.
A little bit wobbly over the top of the hill there. Now through this high-speed section, that was a definite clatter with the wall there. But for Matthew Brown, and he's off now. He's off through McPhillamy. In the background, Dante Oliver goes straight through. That was a proper hit on the wall for Matthew Brown. Is on board with Dombre, who is not able to get past Cristiano Croza yet, and he's another driver I would suspect might employ a bit of strategy here as we come up to the halfway mark. 5 laps about to be completed, by the way, so this is the distance of race 1 now completed as we get to the end of this lap. Still though, 15 minutes to go, which might be 7 or 8 laps. Unsure as to which it's going to be just yet. I would guess it's going to be 7. Let's wait and find out here. Oh, Stombre goes wide through turn 1, and he's lucky that Warner isn't closer, because that was a real big mistake through turn 1. He might still be under attack from the BMW on the way down in towards turn number 2, but definitely made a mistake there. Now on to the mountain straight. Yeah, not close enough, Warner. Not close enough to get through.
Harrison still has a decent-sized lead on Montaggiato. 0.3 seconds.
This is the biggest group on the circuit now, but again, no actual side-by-side in amongst them for a while. Lee Harrison continues to lead here and continues to lead pretty comfortably out front in that Ferrari. He won't be hitting any time soon. He'll try and run this as long as he can, I would imagine, since he's in the clean air. That's the gap he's got behind, and he's under absolutely no pressure here, and he has been under no pressure for quite a long time now.
That was a wicked sound. That surface as he went up that hill.
Going to take the chance this time round. I think Dombre was, I think Bastiato was in that time. Side by side though, just in front of Newhill, between Brown and Mitchell, and Ben Mitchell gets in front of Matthew Brown. That's a pass for 11th. Ben Mitchell's been moving through the field nicely so far, and there's another one. Weaving around, more defending. And outside for John Pianzola, who's trying to get past Carl Newhill. These are 2 drivers, actually, Newhill and Pianzola, who are both working their way through the field after problems earlier on in race number 1. They're both up 5 places so far.
Eric Aria still at position 8. Still already a rough day for him.
The only driver to come in that time round, by the way, as we go past half distance now. There's Dombre, who is closer to Chrysler this time round, but where did he make the move? It's still unclear where he's actually going to manage this. So far, he just hasn't. He's still stuck there in 4th.
Ooh, that was a big impact. There's Dombre.
He's close to Kreiser again. Is he close enough to make an overtake here as he goes over the top of the hill now, down Conrad Straight again? That Porsche running into the same problems it always does with its straight line speed efficiencies. To the chase, and there is going to be a stop for the Ferrari in front. Kreiser held the track position there, but decided to come into pit lane anyway. This is side by side as Brown gets back past Newhill again, much like what happened last lap. They were side by side there through the chase, and Pianzola will try and take advantage. Now Brown's into pit lane. I understand a little bit more from his perspective, given the pressure he was under, but then again, he held the track position there. Also, a couple of drivers willing to give up track position to allow some others through here.
There's Leigh Harrison, still under absolutely no pressure, out front by 2.436 seconds, which hands down is just spectacular.
Been a dominant drive so far from Harrison. About to get to the end of lap 8 now, less than 10 minutes to go in this second race of the day here at Bathurst in the BISC GT3 Championship.
And mind you, everyone in the top 3 has to pit still.
Yeah, everyone in the top 13 still. It's been a race where everybody seems to be waiting for the end to pit in, which is a bit unusual, really.
Past weeks we've seen them pit extremely early. This one's different.
And now there's a stop for Leigh Harrison. This might be the limit. This might be the limit now in terms of fuel. So into the lane for Harrison. Very difficult pit lane to get onto here, by the way. The chicanes there, slowing them down on the way towards the entrance. And there you have it. All of the drivers in so far. It looks like 8 laps was indeed the limit. There should only be 4 to go, though. So the pit window was quite wide, and they could have pitted it any time in the last 2 laps, definitely, maybe even longer ago than that, and none of them deciding to. So into the lane they come. They're mostly running where they qualified or where they started the race, so pit box is not too difficult to spot, especially for Harrison, who's out already, and he will lead. But what about the others? Where's Dombre going to come out in relation to the others? Banchiato's going to be ahead of him. Kreiser's going to be coming across here, and there he is in the background in the Ferrari, and maybe he's going to get them both here. Kreiser's got some good speed here in the background, and he might well get second place as he is into the... Oh, no, he's not quite going to. Dombre just slips in front of him here on the way towards turn 2. And this is a gain of place for Guillaume Dombre. Kreiser's early stop hasn't worked. In fact, it's lost him a place. He's on the outside of turn 2. A long way round there. He can't get past. Can't quite get past. And Dombre now is onto the podium places again. Further behind, Eric Aria is still in 7th place.
He's got to wait till the right time to even try to pass these guys. I bet all he's asking for is that podium back. Leigh Harrison after that pit stop out to a 6.2 second lead. That is phenomenal.
He's going to cruise home now. No point taking any risks for him. Dombre, though, is under severe pressure from Cristiano Kreiser. And Matt Warner's not too far away either, but that run from Dombre out of the corner might be what just saves him here. Now then, down the pit straight they come. Going to be no way through, surely, on the way down here. He's too far behind. Matt Warner, then 5th. Head of the next group. He's just lurking in here as well. Dombre has got to nail Forest Elbow every single lap from now until the finish. Otherwise, he's not going to take this position. Over the line there for Lee Harrison. Going to be very, very close, by the way, as to whether we get 3 or 4 laps to go. Very close.
They're trying to close this gap. Definitely one of the big things that these guys are trying to do. Every position matters.
Dante Oliver's in again, so Eric Aria's position is a little bit safer, although Paul Pittham is still behind him for 7th. 2 Porsches battling away further down. And at the moment, in 3rd place to 7th place, Dombre would gain 12 points and he would take the championship lead by just 4 points. This time last week, when the two of them were battling for the race win at Daytona, it was pretty unthinkable, really, that Dombre would be able to get ahead of Aria. But this is a circuit, clearly, that Dombre is enjoying more than the championship leader. And he's going to take the championship lead unless something changes here in the next few laps.
Less than 5 minutes left. That's about 2 laps. Roughly. They can get through if they're lucky.
2 or 3. We'll see how many they get. Warner, meanwhile, well, sorry, it was just ahead of Chrysler because of a connection problem. Chrysler's just struggling a little bit to stay connected, but he's still in front on the circuit at least. Dombre's not that far behind Bastiato, you can see here on your screen. That's the battle for 2nd. Maybe there's another twist here. Maybe Dombre can make up another place. And of course, the higher up you go, the more valuable each overtake is in terms of point score. So it'll be a very valuable overtake to make here as they go over the line again. I reckon it's going to be 3 laps still to go actually here.
Hombre right behind Vantagiato here. Trying to get as much time.
Can't find a way past at the moment as Wang and Angeli are both down pit lane. There's really quite a few drivers down the back end of the field who are having trouble here. Michael Angeli now retires, as has... oh no, sorry, he's back out the pit lane, I should say. As is David Wang. But Dante Oliver and Scott Boorman have both retired from this race, unfortunately. A shame for them, but they are out of things now. What is this? What's going to happen here then? Aria has got away from Pittham, so he's going to finish 7th here. But where is Dombre going to finish is the real question. If Dombre finishes in the top 4, anywhere in the top 4, he'll take the championship lead. He can finish in 2nd place, though. There'll be a real gap there to hold on to in the final 2 races at Fuji and Mugello. Into the chase. He takes a different line. He might well have a dive, but Bastiato was waiting for that. And he just defended the inside on the way into that braking zone. He bobbles over the curb, though, and here comes Dombre. Outside line, looking for more points on the way to that final corner. Dombre can't quite get past. And he's got still a couple more laps to do it. Where's the starter stand? Can't quite see it, but there it is. No white flag waving. There'll be 2 laps to go.
Hombre looking strong, just cannot make a mistake. That's all it takes from here on out.
He just holds his line, Bastiato. He should be fine, but especially here into turn 2. Dombre will try anyway, even though it's a pretty impossible task to go outside here. Did he get through? No. Just almost impossible to get past there. Warner still close to Chrysler. Oh, and forces the defence into the cutting. Chrysler does keep the place, though. in front of Matt Warner. Well, that was a chance, but again, that's another one of those corners where it's not really possible to overtake very easily.
Dombre tried to pass Fantagiato, slowed him down a lot more. So now he's gonna get all the time that he had lost going into turn 2.
The slipstream. But he's not close enough here, surely, into the chase, and he won't risk it all either to make this pass by any means. He will. He'll definitely take this third place, but he would like second if he can get there. Lee Harrison's going to come over the line now, and with about 5 seconds to go, or 6 seconds, he crosses the line and starts one more lap. The final lap here at Bathurst. Been a dominating performance from Lee Harrison. He took race 1, he's about to take race 2 as well. A fantastic performance indeed from Lee Harrison. Starts the day in 8th place in the point standings. He will move ahead of the likes of Dante Oliver, certainly Peter Ferrero, well, maybe David Wang, Pianzola, who'll move into that top 6, where of course prize money is available in this championship. Here comes Dombre into turn 2. Another look to the outside, but Anziato feeling confident enough to even pull onto the racing line in time for turn 2 there. I would have forced Dombre on the outside to lose a bit more time, because that prevented him from making a move at the chase last lap. Dombre stays in line this time though, and he's much closer now.
It's not even close to being over. These guys battling it out hard. Might be one of the best battles all night.
Oh, bobble over the curve from Vanziato, who gets it wrong over Skyline now. There's no way through for Dombre there. Got to continue to apply that pressure though, and hope that by the end of Comrade Straight and into the chase for the final time that he is close enough to make this move. Out of Forest Elbow, he is close. Dombre will not risk it all for second place, but he would very much like to get there, because there is an extra 3 points on the table if he wants to extend what is going to be his championship lead, as long as he finishes in the top 4. Here he goes, forces Vanziato on the defensive. Dombre over the curb, he's on the outside, he forces Vanziato onto a different line there into the chase, so he's super close now out of the exit of the corner. He's almost underneath him now as he comes into the final turn. Can he make this move on the last lap of the race? Late braking, not quite. Vanziato holds second, but out front it's going to be Lee Harrison who takes the victory. A second victory in 2 races ahead of Vanziato and Dombre. Eric Aria is going to finish in 7th, and with that, Dombre will gain 12 points. He will now be 4 points ahead going into the final 2 races.
That was some great racing for the 25 minutes that we just did. That was spectacular.
So important for the championship as well. We have to wait quite a while, by the way, for the results here, because Luke Broadbent is still making his way around the circuit. But yeah, so important for the context of this season as well. We've got a great final 2 races, though, set up. 2 drivers separated by 4 points. Vanziato will be lurking there as well. Started the day 37 behind Aria. He'll be closer than that, probably be less than 30 behind Aria. Maybe just over 30 behind Dombre, although he did beat Dombre in both races tonight. He will be there or thereabouts, but it's really a 2-horse race, and what a close race it is for the championship between them as well.
So P7, our finisher Eric Aria will be moved from the lead. Will be given it to Dombre. Excited to see
First
this.
time. Sorry, it's the first time that he's finished outside the top 5, and it's happened twice here tonight. That just shows you what a great season he's had so far, that he's not finished outside the top 5 before this race. Happened twice now, so a championship lead lost for him. In the meantime, while we're waiting for Michelangelo to come across the line and to have our race results a little bit later on, I'm not sure if we can, but anyway, I'll just let them pop up on the screen anyway. We'll chat to Lee Harrison, who has won both races tonight. Lee, welcome in. Congratulations on the double victory here at Bathurst tonight. How did you get on tonight? I'm presuming you were looking forward to this round, as it looked like you had very good pace around here tonight.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Actually was not too fast. I almost didn't come tonight, but no practice. I think I did 3 laps of practice. It just all clicked. I don't know whether the Ferrari just had, some OP or what, but yeah, it was a good race and happy to take the double win.
Well, there were other Ferraris in the race, so maybe not giving yourself enough credit in this one. How did it feel, though, out there on the circuit in the Ferrari? What was the general feeling of the car tonight?
It felt very balanced, actually, especially over the top. It was like pinned the whole way over the top of the mountain, and it was super stable coming back down the hill as well. So it seemed like I had a fair bit of top end pace on the Porsche as well. So especially in that first race, I knew I just had to bite my time with Ivan there, and picked him off on lap 3 or whatever it was, and away we went. But yeah, it was good. I nearly ran out of fuel in that last race. I think I crossed the line with about 0.4 of a lap left to go. So I was doing some extreme fuel saving the last couple laps.
That did look like it was the case, given the gap coming down at the end. But congratulations on holding on for the double victory tonight, and thanks for coming to have a chat with us at the end as well.
No problems, guys, and thanks to Benji and the guys that are running the league and yourselves for putting on a good stream. It's awesome to watch back after a night of racing and watch all the fun unfold, and everyone's doing a great job. So thanks to everyone that puts it on, and thanks to my mum and dad for bringing me here.
Thanks very much. Lee Harrison there, the double winner here tonight at Bathurst, just ahead of Eva Van Giatto, as you can see on the results here, and Guillaume Dombre, who we can also chat to now as well, I think. Guillaume, welcome in. Good to have you with us. A podium finish in both of the races tonight, and a championship lead for yourself as well. How are you feeling at the end of that one?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Tired as always, but yeah, that was a tough race, man. I didn't want to risk too much, but I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. So
I suspected that was the case, that you didn't want to risk too much for the second place there. But how were you balancing that in those final few laps? You did look a little bit quicker than Ivan, but yeah, obviously difficult to make a pass around Bathurst, especially when you're in the same manufacturer like that. So how are you balancing that risk versus reward there?
I wasn't going to go for anything that I wasn't sure I could do, So I was trying to put him offline a little bit at the end, but it's just, he's defending very well. He knows what he's doing on the inside of the corner. He's not coming out the corner like, letting me get the switcheroo. So it was good racing it was good defending. Basically, that's it. If I had the dream run out of Forest Elbow, I would have taken it, but that was probably the only opportunity I was probably going to get if one came up.
And based on my calculations, you'll be the championship leader by just 4 points now. It seemed that you had better speed than Eric Aria tonight, certainly, and gained points. So are you feeling about holding on to a championship lead now for the final 2 rounds rather than trying to take it off somebody else?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Ivan's still in the hunt too, I'd imagine. And Eric was sick tonight, unfortunately. So he wasn't on his pace. He wasn't on the pace, and he had some PC issues too. So unfortunate, but I'll take what I can.
And you're right, by the way. Eric will be... That's Eric. Ivan will be 18 points behind you, I think, as well. So
there you go.
Yeah, close between the 3 of you at the end of tonight. Thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us, though, Guillaume, and we'll, I'm sure, see you again next week.
Thank you
very much. That is Guillaume Dombre, the 3rd place driver here tonight. There is somebody else waiting in the room, but they've not got their real name, and I don't know who that is. So I'm not going to bring them in because I don't know what to say, because I don't know who they are. But anyway, if driver can at least let us know who they are, or change their name in this Discord server to their name or whatever, then we'll be able to bring people in. The only reason I know what Guillaume's slightly strange name is because he's been interviewed by us before, so there you go. Anyway, he finishes third. And in fact, the front four all finished in the same positions as they started in that second race. But that doesn't really tell the whole story, Austin. That was a very entertaining second race of the day, as the first race was as well. And it sets us up very nicely now for the final 2 rounds of the championship.
Yeah, in this race, I also noticed there wasn't too many incidents either. There was that one little spin that caused a bit of a blockade in race 1, but otherwise there wasn't too many incidents. And I mean, overall, it was a fun race. It was congrats on Dombre for taking a 4-point lead against Eric Aria. Jay Harrison for coming away with the win both races. Yeah, this was a very fun race, and I'm excited to come back next week. Do it all over again.
Somebody else in the waiting room who doesn't have their name, so I don't know who they are, and I can't ask them things based on that. But anyway, if you do want to have a chat with us and you don't want to change your name, then do let us know who you are by message or whatever, and we can bring you in for a chat in the future here in this championship, because we've still got 2 more rounds to go of the BISC GT3 championship. We'll be back again in 7 days' time from Mugello when we have the first of our 2 double-header finales with a reverse grid for race number 2. Those are going to be very, very exciting races indeed. So make sure you join us back for them as well in 7 days' time. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside Austin Scheff here tonight. Until we see you in 1 week's time for Fuji in the penultimate round of this championship, it's goodbye for now.